This Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff?
Yes, sir.
This is Jason Rutherford.
How are you doing?
Good. Hey, I couldn't find Lyle's number, so I just decided to call you. I have a question.
Okay.
Am I done with probation today or tomorrow?
Let me look and see.
Sound like you just woke up.
Huh?
Sound like you just woke up.
Me?
Yeah.
No, not hardly. You were actually done on the 21st.
I was done on the 21st? Yeah, what's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Prison Break Raw. I'm your host, the one and only, now free, Big JD. I bet many of you didn't know that I was on federal probation this whole time. This whole time that I've been running this channel up until the 21st of November. I was on federal probation. A lot of the things that people were saying about how come I don't get my homies on here, jackasses calling me out to fades, people talking about this, people talking about that, all these different things. Bet you didn't know that I was on federal probation the whole time. My hands were tied in a lot of ways. There was a lot of content that I couldn't put out. When I started this channel, it was much different in the beginning. It was about my nonprofit organization. I was completely transparent to the feds, to the federal probation officers of the Western District of Oklahoma. They knew about this channel, they monitored it, they watched it. They would even quote certain things that I said at certain times, certain probation officers. I've had like 7 of them the whole time I was on in this whole 3 years. I filed motions to the court because of my conduct to get my probation terminated early. No dice. This neocon judge wasn't hearing it. That's why I laugh when people say, well, that's why this guy got off parole early or that guy got off parole early, because they were doing good. So have I been. But because of my criminal record, but the fact that you're looking at a real one, they kept me until the last drop, the very last day, which was Friday. And I had no idea. I thought it was today. I've been off probation for 3 days and I didn't even know it. That's how much of a factor it was in my life. While people dwell and complain and bitch and moan about being on parole or being on probation, I never even gave it a second thought. When they showed up to my house, I listened to what they had to say until they left. When they called and told me to do this, I did that. They told me I got to go to this class over here. I got to go piss test over here. I got to do this. I got to do that. I did it. No matter what they said as far as recommended me for termination 3 different times, this judge wasn't trying to hear it. Because of my record. Because of my criminal career. Gang association, conduct in the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, riots, fights, possession of deadly weapons, all these things. The bank robbery itself. While everybody's out there calling me a phony and a bitch and a punk, I guarantee you that this judge right here will tell you a much different story. But I'm not going to brag about that because it's nothing to brag about. It was actually a pain in the ass this whole time. To have that kind of legal paperwork on you, certified documents regarding who you were. But I went through the whole process. And the process don't start when you touch down in prison. The process starts the minute your hands are hanging out of the driver's side window or the passenger side window, or you're spread eagle in the pavement, or your hands are held high in the air at the side of a corner somewhere, or you're up against a wall, or you wake up butt naked in bed with some hood rat with a bunch of cops in ski masks looking down upon you. I've been through all of that in my life. Since 1993, I haven't been free. I've been on either probation, parole, or whatever, or been locked up since 1993. Right now, this is the first moment in my life in well over 25 years that I can actually say that I'm pretty much free. Outside of not being allowed to own a firearm, I still can't get federally bonded, and I can't run for federal public office. Other than that, I'm a free man. I could get my passport back. I'm going to go fucking register to vote sometime this week. I mean, shit, the office is just right down the road from my house. All of that stuff. I could travel. I could go anywhere. I can even choose to destroy myself again if that's what I choose to do. I could jam a needle right into my arm, or I could pick up a strap and go out there and get my hustle on. Or I could keep doing what I'm doing as if it's just another day. As I said, I didn't even know I was off probation. I talked to a probation officer a few days ago, and he told me they're processing the paperwork and everything, but I didn't know I was done. I didn't even ask him what day I'm supposed to be done. I thought it was today. So let me rehash to you the process. You get arrested, that's where it starts. You're fingerprinted, you're mugshotted, you're read your charges. You're told that you have the right to remain silent, of which you're a real one, you always do. You get booked into the county jail, you're waiting your sentence. In my case, I thought I was going to get 20 years. That's what I was looking at. You can go look in the newspaper, articles, online, Google that shit, and you'll see how much time I was really looking at. They gave me 71 months. Just short of 6 years. I did about 5 total, counting halfway house and all that stuff. The process starts when you're arrested. You go to county jail. You get sentenced. Now you can't wait to catch the chain to get out of there to go to your destination on a main line somewhere. In the CDC, it starts at the reception center. You get processed, then you touch down on the main line, whatever yard you're designated to, you're endorsed to. In the feds, it's designated. In the state, it's endorsed. For me, this time, on my way to Florence Correctional Institution. And there I sat all these years. I flew under the radar. I stayed out the way. I didn't engage in all the bullshit. I went to school. I took emotional intelligence classes, cognitive behavioral therapy program for 2 years. I worked in a unicorn factory, paid every dime of the restitution money back. I had some of my own homies saying that I was getting soft. They were saying that I was weak. I went through emotional, internal battles in that cell, wanting to come out and just straight fucking blast fools. Stab fools, beat fools, knock fools out. But I maintained that thought. None of these people are going to help me when I get out. And for some reason in my mind, I knew I would never see my mother again. I lost my father on the last term in the state. Now I knew I was going to lose my mother in the feds. Then the phone call came. On June 20th, 2016, my mother finally died. I had to listen to that woman suffer for well over a year in agonizing pain until the cancer spread to her brain and that she didn't even remember who I was most of the time. But on her deathbed, she did remember who I was. And before she died, before she lost her mind, she made me promise that I was going to do right. And I kept that promise. Originally, they took my Second Chance Act, which meant that I was looking at extended halfway house time because being a career criminal, being considered totally institutionalized. For serving well over 20 years in and out of the prison system at some level, whether county, state, and federal. They originally took all my halfway house time because they said bed space. I wrote a personal letter to Luz Lujan, the regional director in Grand Prairie. Told her to reconsider. I lost my mother. I'm going to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I've never lived there. I don't know anybody there. Don't know what I'm going to do there. I'm going to need a little more time to get it together. Grant me the extended halfway house, second chance, and I promise you, you will not regret it. She granted it. I was released on January 10th, 2017. That's the next step in the process. Flip-flop thongs on my feet, one pair of underwear, one pair of socks, a t-shirt, and size X8 or XL, 8XL sweatpants that look like a clown. And a knapsack with all my shit. $38. With no hope or no direction and not knowing what the fuck I was going to do. There was no red carpet rolled at my feet. The white privilege welcoming committee didn't pick me up at the gate in a limousine. None of that stuff happened. Nobody cared. And nobody was going to help me. My sisters were done with me. I had a mentor that was in Bethesda, Maryland. The only thing that he was able to do was to send me a little dummy phone. Talk and text only. Those little Nokias. It was the only thing you can have in the halfway house. If you didn't have one, you were screwed. I beat the pavement up every single day in that place. Looking for work. I became a dishwasher in a hotel. I saved my money. I sacrificed. While these dudes were running around in there crying, I don't want to work at Winchell's. I don't want to work at Dunkin' Donuts. I don't want to work at Taco Bell. Ooh, Batliner, don't they sort trash? What do you mean, you wash dishes? That sucks. I got to have $15 an hour or more. So there they sat. And then the same kind of people, you hear them crying on CNN or whatever, talking about they never got a chance. Bullshit. You failed to give yourself a chance. I gave myself all the chances that were at my disposal. I sacrificed. Why them fools running around flashing brand new Levi's, brand new fucking kicks, eating pizza and Chinese food and steaks and ribs and shit every single day? I ate top ramens and bologna fucking sandwiches in that place. And I despise bologna sandwiches. But when you have nothing else, because that's what they feed you in that place, that's all you get and that's all you got. I put it together, man. I got out of that halfway house. The next step of the process, went to home confinement, got my own apartment. Something that the region, the same lady I sent the letter to, and everybody in that halfway house said they've never seen anybody do that. Get their own apartment. Put a phone in their own apartment. I sat in that apartment with a blow-up mattress and a folding metal chair that you would see in an auditorium and a little orange cat, and that's all there was in there. Barely even had enough money for top ramens. I made sure my cat ate. I made sure she had her food. Because she can't eat top ramens, but I can eat her food if I have to. I didn't cut any corners. I didn't sneak out. I didn't get high. I didn't do any of that stuff. I played the game the whole time. January 22nd, 2017, I was officially released from BOP custody and was put on federal probation. All this time I've been on federal paper. I went from the apartment to a house. My niece came down here. I helped her get on her feet. She's doing awesome now. Continue to save my money, continue to invest my money, fix my credit, all that shit. I got a phenomenal credit score. I've got stocks and bonds. I've got cryptocurrencies, all that shit, a 401k program. I make like $45,000 a year with no kids and no dependents or anything. It's pretty damn good, especially in Oklahoma. I make money off my books and everything else that I do. I've stayed drug-free this whole entire time. Never once thinking that I could get high this one day and they're not even going to notice. I put probation out of my mind, didn't even think about it. Didn't even really trip on it. The only time I ever saw them was when they were coming over here asking me about certain YouTube videos, certain things going on. Who's this guy, William Ainsworth, calling you out to a fight? I hope you don't think you're going to go to California and do that, because the minute you touch down at Will Rogers Airport, you're on your way back to Grady County. Same thing with the other dude, fucking, what's that clown's name? Challenging me to a fade. Probation talking about, you ain't doing it. Well, what if this guy shows up at my front door? The only time that I could fight any of these people is that they knock at my door. You knock at my door, you walk up on my property. That's the gray area. You want to have a YouTube channel? This started way back with the nonprofit. You want to have a YouTube channel? You want to keep doing what you're doing? No sureños on your show. You can't have none of your homies on here because that's gang association. So when people are on here talking about, how come you don't have any of your homies on here? Gah. I couldn't. My hands were tied. Certain things I couldn't talk about. Certain topics that I would love to share with you guys that I couldn't do. Different shows, different things. There was a lot of different videos that I dropped that before I posted them as public, I had to share them with them to make sure that they were okay to go. The one that I did, how I became a sureño and why, that was an iffy. Took them a little bit to figure out if they were going to let me drop it, but they said, you know what, you're doing so great, go ahead and drop it. Maybe it'll help some of these kids stay out. I went through all of this shit while you, the viewer, had no idea. Some of you knew, but many of you did not know. Can you imagine if I would have told you this whole time? Trolls would have been calling the probation office trying to swat me. Just like they've called my job, my old job at the restaurant. Just like they've threatened my family online, done all this stuff. Yeah, I ain't playing with that fucking... There's no way. I'm not going to play with that fucking can of gasoline with a match. Not going to do it. But now I'm free. So now fuck you motherfuckers. Go ahead and give them a call, punk. Basically, it's how I look at it now. I am a free man. As far as freedom gets, with a forfeiture of certain rights that now I'm going to be fighting to get back. I am going to become an advocate and activist for restoring the right to bear arms for all the formerly incarcerated. As long as you ain't some fucking diaper sniper or something like that, personally, I think you should just die. But that's just me. I never said I was a nice guy. I just said that I care. But it's straight up from here. The sky is the limit. Like I said, I'm going to go register to vote. I'm going to get my passport. I'm going to travel around. I'm going to walk around. I'm going to move around. I don't have to ask nobody permission to do anything. And I'm free to do whatever I want at this point. Within reason, of course. I mean, if I was to go out to a bar, of which I wasn't allowed to go to bars, unless I asked, it was something that was, whatever. If it was a restaurant, bar, place like that, yeah, but I couldn't just go to straight dive bars. Now I can. If I get in a bar fight, if I go to a bar and get in a bar fight, Just bail myself out of jail. There's no federal hold. Not saying I'm going to do that. I'm just saying that I can if I wanted to. I get any kind of tickets, anything like that, I fail to pay all my taxes, no federal hold's going to be placed on me, no violation coming my way. If I want to call all some of my older homies, a lot of the other homies, millennials and stuff that are doing good, that are holding it down and they're rocking with their family, I can invite them all over right now. We can all huddle around this screen and wave at you, and nobody could say shit in the federal government. This is what an end of sentence looks like. This is what success looks like. Where I go from here, just going to maintain and keep doing what I'm doing. Like I said, I didn't even know I was off paper. But you already know what it is. You heard it right here. Prison Break Raw, uncut, uncensored, no holds barred, not sugarcoat, not politically correct, all up in your face, slapping you with that dick of reality. And I'm out.